one thing I do also believe in is like the 1% better each and every day. Like, let's take this in small size chunks and let's see what we can progress. We measure a lot of our reporting and KPIs on a weekly snapshot versus annual or monthly. Like every week, like how did we perform last week? What are the things we can do for the next 7 days? Like instead of like trying to talk about these big goals and objectives, what's an action we can take next 7 days to get incrementally better? So next week we can see this KPI continuing to move.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Behind the Franchise. As always, I am your host, Paul Ehlinger, and today we've got an old friend. No, we're joking. We met each other once 3 years ago, we realized. But Tony, welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm super excited to be here and ready to kick off all things AI and just initiatives.
No, I love it. And Tony, tell us a little bit. You're with Horsepower Brands, but give us your quick backstory. Who the heck are you? How'd you get to where you are today? And then give us the quick sales pitch on the company today.
Yeah, like Horsepower Brands is a home service platform. It's all in franchising. So my background goes all the way back to like a CPA, but then I worked in the PepsiCo space and beverage distribution. We were a distributor. I represented executive team as a CFO, and then transitioned into vice president of sales and marketing, which is not the
I
typical
was going to
path
say those are very different pathways.
of an accountant. And so I have a strong foundation for finances and
Yeah.
anything strategic and analytical.
Hmm.
But honestly, I just enjoy building teams and being part of growth engines.
Yeah.
Spent some time in nutrition retail as a franchisee in a franchisee group that grew over 60 plus stores. Then joined Horsepower as one of the first 10 employees as a franchisor in the home service space. So franchising, just like a McDonald's restaurant, may teach you how to flip hamburgers and cook French fries.
Yeah.
We teach people how to start a roofing company or a painting company or a fencing company. And so we have 9 brands representing 9 different industries that service homeowners, and we touch on multifamily, commercial, everything beyond that. And so, in the end, what I always like to say, really what we're in the business of doing is we build people that build businesses,
Yeah.
and we're looking to help people get into business ownership, become an entrepreneur. It's not the easiest thing. In fact,
Correct.
we think it's one of the hardest things that people can do in life.
Yeah.
And so as a franchisor, we just want to support their journey and hopefully allow it to be a little bit easier and also be able to get into it a little bit quicker than if they were to do it alone.
I love that. And a first question I have to ask: the accountant to entrepreneurial path is not a well traveled path. Like you have to be a decently risk adjusted guy to become an entrepreneur. Like, where did those fundamentals misalign?
I first person to go to college in my family.
Uh,
I had to figure that out on my own, even how to apply to college, how to get into college.
sure.
And I did really well in all my classes. An accounting professor said you should really look at becoming a CPA.
Yeah.
The job's in high demand at that time, and you're
Decent
pretty much
pay, in demand, and
yeah,
stable.
guaranteed a job. And I
Yeah.
said, "What's a CPA?" And so, but it gave me a very clear path
Hmm.
to a career, and then got into that. And you go around and work with a lot of clients, and
Yeah.
you see business all about. And I learned pretty quickly that I didn't want to stay in public accounting,
Sure.
but the natural progression there is to become a CFO.
Hmm.
I was very lucky to become a CFO at like age of 26, and so I
That's
was in a
crazy.
room with a bunch of people that were 40 to 50 years old,
Yeah.
which like catapulted me into becoming an executive at a young age. And that organization was a huge growth organization. And from there, I fell in love with growth,
Hmm.
fell in love with building teams.
Yeah, yeah, I think it's extremely impactful to have like random leadership young. Like I had a very similar thing when I was 24. I ended up managing the state of Kentucky's venture capital fund. Like didn't know what it was, you know what I'm saying? Like read a bunch of books beforehand and then within a month had made a few investments and all this stuff. It is fascinating because it's just like you're either going to burn and go, be done, or you're going to climb your way out of it and come out stronger on the other end. Like how much of your success today, you're attributing to that? It's got to be a big player.
Yeah, I mean, you're thrown into it, and it's a sink or swim to a
Yeah,
certain extent.
yeah.
You also have good mentors along the way, or people you leaned on.
Hmm.
I was fortunate as a CFO. I still leaned heavily on the people out in the field and
Hmm.
people out in the sales components, and learned from them, and
Yeah.
started to really open my eyes to all things business and not just the back end financial and the results of the business. So Yeah, but it's a sink and swim. Like everything I
Yeah.
go into still to this day, like you got to be resilient. You got to be able to push through those hard times.
Yeah.
You will make mistakes.
Yeah.
What are you going to do when you do? How are you going to get through it and
Survival
better
is
correct it in
underrated.
the future?
You know, at some point you got to survive.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And I would love to, I think we typically on the show try to talk about like either decision points you've recently made in your business or ones you're thinking about making now. And I think we're at such an interesting kind of through point in franchising because I think franchising is an AI resistant field. I think it's kind of tech laggard. There's some slower movers, but it's also, I think, this industry that won't go away with AI because so much of franchising is human based, it's service oriented, right? So I'm just curious, maybe kicking it off, like, how are you viewing the business model today, right? Like, obviously, all these technological changes are happening. The market's crazy. SpaceX just went public today, and it's a multi-trillion
Yeah.
dollar company. Like, how are you feeling about the general state of AI and franchising today?
Yeah, for us, it's actually bringing more people into the conversation of starting their own business because they're
Mm,
realizing, you spend money on a university degree, you get that career, you've landed what you think is the American dream,
yeah,
and everything's going right until now you're finding out that maybe your role or things that you've done could be replaced by this artificial intelligence, and so my natural view and thoughts around artificial intelligence spoke to somebody yesterday. It was like,
yeah,
how can we use it for good? How can we augment and improve?
yeah,
How can we just make lives better? But we're talking to a lot of people that are losing their roles or are scared of losing their roles because of AI. And so now they're looking to start a business of their own, something that they can own and control
yeah,
and have some future reliance that is something that they can make decisions upon. We are in home services, so that's a huge benefit. It's
yeah.
a lot of people are looking at HVAC, plumbing, electrical, fencing, roofing, everything in between, and so people are coming to us naturally. So
Hmm.
it's sparked a lot of even more interest. It's performed through recessions, pandemic. So home services is a category that we think will perform well into the future. You never know, but we think
Right.
it's a pretty good bet to
We're a
get
ways
into.
away from the robots building fences, is what you're telling me?
Yeah. Well, we don't know. Like, we'll
Sure.
see what Elon does after SpaceX.
Yeah, yeah. Boston Dynamics is a wild one to watch. I don't know if you ever watched their videos of like the
I
robot
do.
running. It's
Yeah.
now like kind of scary. It's getting to the point where it's like I don't like it. It's too human now.
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely.
like I said, we love kind of highlighting big changes you've made in your business, and maybe not big changes, but strategic objectives you've done, or things like that, things that have been top of mind. Kick us down that path. Like, what has that been for you guys in the last quarter and the coming quarter here with horsepower?
Yeah. Obviously, we're taking people through business ownership, and so one of the initiatives we put into place well over a year ago, but we are like 10% unlock the opportunity that's in front of us and it's artificial intelligence. How do we unlock all this intelligence, all this knowledge, all this information that we have as a franchisor of how to be successful in this business,
Hmm.
in this industry, as being part of one of our brands. And so we have tools that, many people are using, but we have our own tool that we're using to support franchisees 24/7 through
Yeah.
the ability just to chat through Microsoft Teams. It's tied into our platform, ask the question and get a lot of guidance. Now,
Yeah.
it's more of a controlled space versus so the hallucination doesn't occur because it's more of a controlled space where
Yeah.
if there isn't an answer, we don't want it to answer,
Yeah.
and it's able to create ticketing systems. And
We
that
could we could we
ticketing
could shout him
system,
out, by the way. He's referring to Easy Assist. Ralph is a friend of
yeah,
the show.
there
So
you go.
shout out
He
Ralph if
is,
you're
yes.
listening to this. Yeah,
We're a big
yeah, yeah.
we're a big fan of them. Easy Assist is the tool, but we're actually naming it within each brand because I'm not even referring to it as Easy Assist within our brand. Like
I love
with
it.
our Heroes Lawn Care, it's called Your Hero. Like, have you talked to like
Have
that's
you
a great
talked to your
question.
hero?
Have you
Yeah.
messaged Hero lately? Or like in Mighty Dog Roofing, we call it Buddy. Or like we're trying to name it so that it becomes part of the system
Yeah, it's part of an operational
and
workflow.
make it. But we're only like 10% there.
Yeah.
You could quite literally give it information, and then also when will come the day that it becomes agentic and it starts
Yeah.
performing action
Yeah.
off of all the information that we have in it, and we're just tiptoeing our toes into the water right now on that.
Yeah, it's you did not tee this up at all, but it's literally so I've been working on this thought over here, and I know it's blurry, but it's these three axes from manual to automatic, centralized to decentralized, and then controlled and not controlled. And I
Yeah.
think every task, and obviously from our perspective, we think of marketing tasks, but every task in general in a franchise lives somewhere on that three-dimensional axis, right? Like it's either like fully controlled by the franchisor and decentralized. So maybe you're giving them the exact same thing they need to go do,
Yep.
and it's manual. I think we're in this world where everything is converging to centralized, controlled, and automated, and that's the agentic aspect of everything. I'm curious your thoughts on that. Like, do you see the franchisor franchisee relationship changing as more things can kind of be agentically controlled, not touched by a human to get accomplished?
Yeah, I mean it's challenging the franchisor to truly document and become really good at that.
Yeah.
We have a lot of knowledge, but now it's like for the AI tools to do what you just said there. I think every franchisor would love that.
Yeah.
Like with the more that you can converge towards that as the ultimate goal,
Hmm.
where the franchisee, the owner, still believes that it works. Like it's going to have to work, but for all those things to come together, documentation and knowledge and putting that information in, it's an intelligence. And so if you
Yeah.
don't give it good inputs, the outputs aren't going to be great. And if the outputs is true agentic and taking action, even worse things could occur because now actions are being taken off of
Yeah.
wrong information.
Yeah.
So yeah, for the franchisors that believe in that kind of philosophy of what you just mentioned and actually devote energy and have the know-how and the ability
Hmm.
and can execute it, like absolutely, it could change the entire dynamic in the relationship.
Yeah. What are things that you think, remain kind of indelibly controlled by the franchisee? Like I think of, local partnerships, like go knock on some doors, meet your business partners around you, all that stuff. Like I kind of doubt that'll ever fully be that. That is a human relationship, right? What are things you think are always going to remain kind of on the onus of the franchisee? Like they are this business owner that has to do this thing.
Yeah, it's you just said the human relationships. Anything,
Yeah.
hiring a team, like go build a roofing company at scale, and to be something that's very impressive and that can actually maybe operate without you being in the day to day as an owner. It's going to require people, great
Hmm.
people, A plus talent, and it's going to
Yeah.
require a team dynamic and culture. And we've all been part of organizations with great culture.
Yeah.
We've been part of organizations with culture we don't want to be a part of. And AI can't fix one of those two. Like,
Sure.
it's not going to improve it. It's not going to make it worse. Like, it's going to require a leader in place. Same thing with interacting with customers and homeowners or commercial or multifamily owner
Hmm.
apartment complex owners. Like that interaction is still going to require human interaction. Trust is going to still be required in those relationships, and I don't think AI is going to be able to transfer trust in a
Sure.
meaningful way without human interaction. So
Yeah.
that's why we still need our belief. The best way to scale our brands is through franchising because we
Hmm.
need local independent owners operating these businesses, building great teams, interacting with customers, and just scaling the business. Now
Yeah.
we should be able to give them all the tools and everything that they need so that they can rely on it. I think like even networking locally with builders and realtors, we should be able to give them tools that can scrape the internet,
Oh,
find the
sure. Yeah. I
opportunity,
mean, there's
do the
all the
prospecting.
interstitial workflows that nobody
Yes,
actually wants to do, right?
yes, yep,
Yeah. It's funny. I think we're so early in the curve of AI adoption, and I think whenever we get like I was just down at the franchise growth marketing conference last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, I forget now. But it's interesting. Sometimes I'll sit at a table and they don't know like we build AI or whatever, and
yep,
they're kind of harping on it, right? And I always like to listen to like what everybody's issues are, and so much of it is like, oh, it's just this chat tool, or like, oh, these franchisees are making weird images for it, and so I feel like there's such this like early view of what AI actually is. And what we always try to say is it's like it's workflow replacement, right? Like, we were talking before we started recording this, like nobody actually wants to go build 500 meta ad campaigns. Like nobody wants to do that.
no.
And so like don't do that. Think more about the strategy of why you're doing it and then let the machine do that clicking. I'm curious your take on that. Does that like resonate true to you?
Absolutely. I'm working on a project right now, even thinking about customer segments, like what are the real buyers of one of our brands
Hmm.
and what are the motivators? And then once you know that, like what's the channel strategy? Is it meta ads? Is it
Yeah.
LinkedIn? Is it Google ads? Is it just talking to realtors and like going out and networking?
Yeah.
But once you have that, then like if it is meta ads, like how do you build the hooks and the call to
Oh,
actions
yeah.
that speak to the specific motivation?
Yeah.
Like in today's world, leveraging AI to help like create those type of like once you understand the buyer, like
Yeah.
validating that through the AI. Then once you know that, like how to create the actual approach to target those customers and the hooks and the CTAs, you can use AI to help that with your guys' software, I would imagine. And it's just going to change the volume and scale in what you can do. And
Yeah.
sometimes to be successful in business, it is about volume. It's not that
Yeah.
you're doing
Yeah.
anything wrong.
You've
You're
got to
just
you've got
not
to
doing
cover some
enough.
surface area. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Increase the
Yeah.
surface area. Yep.
No, it's totally fascinating, and I'm curious, maybe changing gears a little bit here because it resonated with me up front. Where you guys are, your job is to build great business leaders, right? Like that's what you need to do. And again, I'm going to harp on your accounting background because I think
Yeah.
every account that I've met, maybe not every, 99.9% of the accounts I've met lack a lot of the extrasocial skills, the selling, the marketing, all this stuff. And you've obviously gained those skills. What does that look like for you? Like, when you're finding somebody, clearly you're not finding 10 out of 10 polished people who like could be building the best business every day. You're doing coaching, you're training, you're building systems around them. What's your philosophy on identifying somebody who may not have all the skills right now, but you clearly see the potential to have that skill to become a great franchise owner?
Yeah. In building even teams that work with me, I start with this. Like it's all about mindset.
Mm,
Nothing you do in life that you're successful in, you did it halfway,
yeah.
and, like tiptoe into it.
Yeah.
So you can't tiptoe into entrepreneurship. And so I'm a strong believer in all in mindset.
Hmm.
And it's not just about time. It's literally all your dedication, your focus, your energy. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about it. You go to bed, you're thinking about it. And
Right.
that takes a
For
lot
better
out
or
of
worse on some days, right?
Yeah, it takes a lot out of people. So like we talk to thousands of people every year that
Hmm.
look to want to get into business and franchising and potentially one of our brands. And I always start there. Like, where's their mindset coming into this call? What does it
Hmm.
look like? How do you look to operate this business? And the people that weren't like center on the first part of the discussion, like, well, how much time do I have to devote to this?
Yeah.
Like, I automatically, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
like, where's your mindset at? Do you want
Yeah.
this to be successful? And anytime you want to challenge that, like, if I want to lose weight, I never lose weight if I put half-ass energy into it. So,
Yeah.
mindset's a big piece. We're looking for people that are able to like go out and be able to network and outgoing and
Hmm.
somebody that you could have an interaction with. In any business that you're trying to start from zero, it
Yeah.
takes inertia and momentum, and
You got to
usually the
build
people that
gravity.
are outgoing can do that.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. And, I think it really is about like it's creating something from nothing. Like, even if you're supported in a franchise system, like you still have to get that 0 to 1 going, which is
Yeah.
exceptionally hard. And you have to be able to like induce gravity around you. How do you train that into somebody? Because I think I can kind of tell you have it by how you just even communicate on this, 20-minute podcast here. Like, you can inspire folks, you can rally people. How do you teach that skill?
Yeah, it's some of it you can't teach, some of it
Mm,
you can. We take them through our training programs and we show them like what you need to do. But like, yeah, the inertia and the skill of just going out and doing it and willingness to fail.
yeah.
Sometimes you can't teach that. It is a
Yeah.
character trait. It's quality. You can see if they've exhibited those behaviors in their past in their career. Like even as a W-2 earner, you can still exhibit all those same character traits.
Yeah.
You just did it earning a paycheck. And so this is now starting your business. So I don't know if you can necessarily train that particular thing.
Hmm.
But what we can show them is like, here are all the things that you have to do to be
Yeah.
successful. And let's just measure this in bite-sized segments. So one thing I do also believe in is like the 1% better each and every day.
Oh yeah.
Like, let's take this in small size chunks and let's see what we can progress. We measure a lot of our reporting and KPIs on a weekly snapshot
Yeah.
versus annual or monthly. Like every week, like how did we perform last week? What are the things we can do for the next 7 days? Like
Hmm.
instead of like trying to talk about these big goals and objectives, what's an action we take next 7 days to
Yeah.
get incrementally better? So next week we can see this KPI continuing to move.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And I think building off of like your all in mentality, I completely agree. Like, I think lacking of resilience is the number one reason everything fails. Like, because something's not done until you give up on it. Like, period. You can
Yeah.
pull something out of anything. Um, I think early on in my career, the thing I always struggled with that was, man, if you go all in on everything, then you also have to go all in on like recovery from that thing, right? Like, and because you can't half-ass recovery, like you can't just go out drinking Friday night and that's your like recovery from like all in and all week. I'm curious if you've had a similar experience and like how you've learned to manage that, because it is like I feel you. I wake up, I go to bed, every minute in between it, out to dinner with my wife, I'm thinking about this stuff, and it's
Yeah.
like you got to find the ways to like proactively turn it off to keep building.
That's a great question. It's something I actually focused a lot of attention on these last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I've
Wait, maybe what was the turning point? Because that's a very specific time frame you're mentioning there.
uh, absolute just dedication to horsepower and just
Yeah.
so much time and energy. Every ounce of mind, every mental thought was going towards it for three
Yeah.
years, and you reach a point of like, how am I going to balance this? And
Yeah.
so,
This can't go on forever.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, in short, just like I think any of us that are business leaders, we like to create frameworks. So I created my
Yeah.
own personal framework off of other things that I read or saw. And so like I set all my objectives last 2 years on like 7 key areas, and
Yeah.
they're intentionally in this order: physical health, mental health, relationships, which is like with my wife, my kids,
Yeah.
freedom. Like what does freedom really mean? And that's the
Yeah.
ability to like put the phone down and not
Yeah.
check emails,
Yeah.
money, impact, and adventure. And so I really have worked these last 2 years to set objectives and goals within each one of those buckets and make sure like horsepower is in those buckets.
Hmm.
But it's not the thing that like physical health is actually above everything else for me.
Yeah.
Because if I'm giving up on that, like I don't have the energy to do the rest.
Yeah.
And so that's helped me, I guess. But trust me, that's an area that I'm not an expert in. I need
Yeah.
all the advice I could get.
It is. It's. I was having this conversation with Adam Contes, who used to be the CEO of Remax, and
Okay.
like,
Yep.
so a guy who's like clearly made bigger, higher level executive decisions than I.
Yes.
And yeah, I'm always like shocked a little bit when you hear those people kind of say these things, because his whole idea is we were talking about like this negotiation I was working through, and he's just giving me some advice on it. And he's like, at the end, he's like, Paul, like at the end of the day, go to the gym every morning, like
Yes.
take an afternoon off, because like these conversations, you'll think it's just a meeting, you'll think it's just an hour-long phone call, but it's the most energy draining thing you'll do that week. And if you don't go into that fully rested, well fed, like all this stuff, you're gonna fucking suck in comparison, right? And it's like, I think I just never really thought about it as like this part feels this part and that part feels that part. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get around that mental framework, because to your point, like
Yeah.
you're kind of built and wired to just sprint, and turns out you can't just do that.
Yeah. I always count, like you always hear that message, even from myself.
Mm.
I can speak to that after the first 3 years of just the grind.
Yeah.
So I still think back, like, how could I maintain this framework if I wanted to start the next thing?
Yeah, yeah.
To get it off the ground, it just takes so much inertia. And it's almost like you have to prioritize that thing for a period of time. And that might be a year, 2 years, or 3 years.
I completely agree, because that's something I always ask myself. Like, this is the third time I've helped like build a company, raise a venture fund before, and it's like, for me, it's like I sit down with my wife and I'm like, hey, it's about to be shitty for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like it's just gonna suck, but we've got to like overcome that. Yeah, I'm curious. I love the notion that one of your buckets was freedom. Because my God, is it hard to put your phone down? You know what I mean? When it's like you're the one with all the authority to make the change happen that needs to happen. If you don't mind, like, what is that bucket for you? Like, how do you define that? If it's too personal, obviously we can go over.
Freedom almost ties to a lot of the other buckets. So like, I've been fortunate in life to be to a point where, I don't need a career. I don't need a job. And so I have the freedom of, ensuring that whatever I'm doing aligns to my own values. And if there ever was a day that it didn't, I can easily just choose to not be a part of it.
Yeah.
So money offers a step of freedom for a period of time. I don't have freedom for the rest of my life, but I have freedom for a good period of my time. So then the freedom this year for me has really centered on, can I mentally check out of the business? Can I mentally be done with the phone? So like my goal, and one of my objectives within the freedom bucket is the phone is done at 8 p.m. Like I'm not checking the phone. Do I hit that every night?
I was gonna say, what's our KPI hit rate here?
Yeah, actually, in comparison, the last 4 years, I'm doing incrementally extremely good.
Wait, are you tracking? Are you tracking this KPI?
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, congrats! Then it's a great year.
Yeah, I'm at least 70% or more at the time where I'm not touching the phone after 8 p.m. So, and that includes a little bit of also the personal, like not touching.
100%. Yeah. No, I love that. I think it's like an understated thing, because I feel like everybody's always in like one of two camps, where it's just like grind all day, or it's this like work-life balance stuff. And I'm like, I firmly don't believe in that. Like, I think if you have passion for something, then it is your life, and it's all
Exactly.
blended
You
together. You know
integrate
what
it.
I mean?
Yeah.
And I think I always love hearing people like talk about it in such a specific way, where it's like, this is intentional because it makes me a better leader and a better business owner. I mean, have you seen that coming out the other end? Like, are you feeling those results kicking in where you've like laid this framework?
I think I'm better to the other people in my life that,
Yeah,
in the end will matter more
probably
than,
matter way more.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, more for that, I think, and I don't think we got great leadership at Horsepower. We've chosen to go to remote workforce, which in today's world, it's very easy to
yeah,
do so. We got an incredible team, national talent.
yeah,
They've allowed me to like be able to focus inside this framework the last 2 years too. That was a big part of it, is switching to a remote workforce 2 years ago,
yeah.
which allows me to step back. So it's more the other people in my life as that they're benefiting from it.
Yeah, I'm curious, for you, like I've always found it easier to push my team to respect their boundaries and do the thing,
Yeah.
than it is for myself. Did you have a similar thing there where it's like it's easier to like say like, hey guys, yeah, you need it, like you just grinded for 2 weeks, like take this day, go get yourself right, come back. Was it easier for you to say that to other people than yourself?
I got to be honest. I'm a when I set my goal on something, I want my team to drive with me.
Yeah,
But the executive team, and so not every employee in the organization, but some of the key leaders. One of the things I talk about is like, what's your drive? What's your tank? Like,
hmm,
are you put 40 hours in the week and like you're drained, or like are
yeah.
you somebody that can put 50, 55 hours into something
How
and
much
still feel
mileage
like
can we get out of this?
you can keep going? So
Yeah,
I got to be honest. I'm more of a driver than that end. I'll push people more than I allow the other. But
I love it.
that's just because I want to be around other people that want to do great things, big things, and be part of a growth organization.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everything's more fun when you're just working on a great team.
yeah,
What's the next 6 months hold for you guys? Like it seems like you guys are clearly getting your feet wet into AI. I think you're doing it in a smart way. Obviously, again, shout out Easy Assist. Like, but even outside of AI, like what are the big things you're thinking about within horsepower right now that you think are going to affect change in the next 2 quarters?
yeah. We are actually going down the path of like our own CRM
Oh, very cool.
and 4 or
That's a
5
massive decision. How did you guys decide between buy versus build there?
Yeah, we got a good developer
Yeah.
that is allowing us to develop around his set. So like he technically owns the majority of the company, but it allows us to really invest into the technology.
Mm-hmm.
I I I'm curious and want to continue to go down this path. We have a sales listening tool that listens to the conversations inside the home.
Yep.
Coaches are design consultants or salespeople. We have an AI call center that is taking that initial conversation with the homeowner or the prospect at that time.
Yep.
You think about like long term of I'm always obsessed with customer journey and trying to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
understand the consumer and their mindset and like what motivates them to buy our product, what motivates them to buy more of it.
Yep.
And now in today's world, we're recording all these conversations for the idea of coaching in that moment,
Yeah.
but being able to step back like 4 years from now and asking the machine,
Sure.
how could I improve this business? How could I improve our product? How could our service be better? And literally, that's the consumer sentiment. I
Yeah.
don't need philosophical marketing people to get in a room and whiteboard this thing. I
Right.
can go look at 4 years of conversations with homeowners and within our brand and ask how we could get better. It will be very interesting that day when like it starts to like consult to us. This is
Sure.
how you can change your business, reshape your business, market to your business differently
Yeah.
with all the ad content.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like what always gets me is everything right now is very human initiated, right? Like even agentic flows are very human initiated. I think we are. It's happening now, but I think we're about to be on the precipice of all of these what I would consider like data triggered events, right? Where it's like there is a data point that gets triggered, unbeknownst to you, 3 systems deep, right? That
Right.
leads to a cascade flow of events that will take action on your behalf. And I
Yeah.
think that's going to be a wild moment in everybody's business when they realize how many of those decisions actually don't need to be made by a person
Yeah.
along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I still have to, show my parents how to do some of the most basic things on their
Hear me out.
telephone. So,
My dad
yeah.
doesn't own a cell
Yeah.
phone, so like
Yeah.
shout out Larry Ellinger. You'll never see this because you're
Yes.
never online.
Yes. Yes. So there's
um,
still an element of, yeah, it'll be interesting with like the power of what it could be, but you're
mhm.
still going to have to rely on team members and people leveraging the tools to make it powerful.
Yeah, my general market thesis is the world's not accepting how long this is going to be hybrid for. Like
Right.
hybrid in the sense of like people won't give full control to AI, but they're going to still be doing this either because they're slow, they don't trust it, they don't know about it. Like there's going to be a world where we're in the middle for quite a long time, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, I love that, Tony. This has been a super interesting episode. I don't think I expected us to go in all the paths we went on, but I really appreciate it, and thanks for coming on. Always like to at the end, where can people learn more about you? Where can they learn more about your brand? Do the sales pitch. You're on the podium. What do you want people to know before we exit here?
Yeah, you come to horsepowerbrands.com, and what I try to tell people is, if you ever thought about entrepreneurship, business ownership, and this is the same for all the good franchise systems out there. Our process is a discovery process. It's an
Mm.
education process. We're intentional of going through the process in a certain order. We're going to take you through and make sure you understand what it would look like to own a business in home services as part of one of our brands. But more than anything, by just going through that, if you have a inkling of any sort to think about owning a business in the near future, and home services is a category that you're interested in, go to horsepowerbrands.com, schedule that 15-minute call. We'll start talking to you about it. And if
Yeah,
it's not the right fit, I think you're going to learn a lot about what it takes to be a business owner,
yeah,
and it might apply well into a different segment or business that you're looking into.
yeah. I love that. Well, Tony, thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate your time today.
You bet, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And for everybody else, thank you for listening to another episode of Behind the Franchise. We'll talk to you next time.